Yeah, this is in March of 2020. This segment was planned to be a painting, showing a painting all the way through start to finish. Duane called me a few days ago and wants to know if I would come over and show her and the girls how to do an oil landscape. And I thought, well, sure, I'd be glad to do that. Then I figured, well, why not incorporate that into this segment? And because they haven't done oil painting, as far as I know, of landscape particularly, and so it might, if it works out nicely, it might make a good, a good segment. So we'll see how it works out. One thing about it, they do have the talent for it. Every one of them are into art. There's 4 of them, of course, and then they want to do a 4-season deal, and they always doing artwork around the house there. And Elaine, I think, had left a big footprint, a lot of good impressions. The fact is, got a niece up in Virginia, and Elaine look-alike granddaughter down in Dallas. That all very good artists. I don't know. It had to have come from her, I'm sure. So anyway, we're going to give this a shot and see how it works out, and hopefully it does. It'll be informative. If it's not informative, we'll scratch it. So we'll see. All right, thanks. Here we go. All right, yeah, it looks like it's going. All right, to all of you people out there, this is my weird grandchildren. This is Sabrina, and you've met Savannah in our other one, so that's her again. Sorry we haven't got her locked up yet. So with my grandchildren, 2 little weird girls. This one's in college in North Carolina, Banner Elk, and what's the name of the college?
Lees McRae College.
Lees McRae, yeah, she's studying to be a veterinarian. I don't know, it's not a totally veterinary school, but it's, how does that work, Shana, or Ben?
I'm not saying to be a veterinarian, I'm saying to be a wildlife biologist with a concentration in rehabilitation. So I'd be rehabilitating animals. And then the other thing I'm doing is studio art. That's my second major.
All right. Guys, this, I'm working with Savannah and Sabrina, grandchildren here, and you've met Savannah, but introduce you to Sabrina here in a bit. We're doing a landscape oil painting. This is their first oil painting, and we're going to just do something very simple. I just sketched this out for them, just a little, some kind of a little simple composition. We got a pond, a couple of buildings, and a little roadway that goes in here, and I put in some little animals, but I'm going to just paint right over that with throw something else in there, whatever they want. They might want to put their own animals in their picture. So anyway, that's the composition, and composition is there's a lot of rules, so to speak. You don't want your eye to be forced out of the picture, and you don't want lines on lines. You don't want to weigh it over too much on one side or the other. And same with the coloring, the painting of it all. You don't want too much bright colors. And anyway, all of it has to be in tune. So anyway, this is a very bad composition, and I just sketched it out last night. But I got about 6 or 8 bad things in there that is really bad. It makes it a real bad composition. Like I say, lines on lines and forcing your eye out of the picture and things of that nature. And don't pay attention to these. That's just bad drawing there. The horizontal lines, I goofed up on them, but that's not part of what I'm talking about. But the composition itself, where it's placed and how it's arranged, is very bad. So there's about 6 or 7 different things, and I'll show you what the mistakes I made in it at the end of our video. But see if you can pick them out. What I did with the Sabrina's, she's going to do one with the summer, and Savannah's going to do one with the fall. So I just throw this on there and I just paint it out there, and we're just laying it in now. This is definitely not good artwork, but I never do even think about doing good artwork in the very beginning. I just get it all laid out, and then I come back in and start glazing and painting, and the very last thing we do would be glazing, and it takes quite a long time to do all of that. But we move things around, move it back, move it forward, move it back forward, and then start putting in colors. The only colors we got here, which is not really colors. The sky is not really a blue, as everybody knows. It's a gray. You put a piece of blue up near the sky, and you find out it's not all that blue. But the way I like to do skies is, if it is a blue sky, is cobalt blue and burnt umber and white, of course, and just a grayed down blue. And then coming forward, you just add a little pigment as you come forward. And the same with savannas. Savannas are just, all that is just plain old raw sienna. The whole thing was raw sienna and white. And then white on the bottom, of course. And then we just throw down a little blue on the top and blend it in a little bit. And then this down here, we started adding a little bit of burnt umber in it to start coming forward. Then we started coming forward a little bit more with the greens. And we're going to use earth greens all the way through on both of these until we get down here. And then we can change that around, move it back to cold greens or whatever we want to do with it. But again, all the colors and things of that nature don't come till we get into glazing. And anyways, it's quite a long process the way I do it, and that takes a little patience. Okay, this is typical of the Savannah and Sabrina family. They're animal lovers, and that's why Sabrina wants to be a vet. So, well, really, I don't think she wants to be a vet. She wants to be something to do with wildlife, and I'm not sure what her overall ambition is. But anyway, Savannah just ordered what is it? Harness?
Yeah, harness for my bearded dragon.
Harness for a bearded dragon. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I guess it does to her anyway. So she's getting ready to take him for a walk. Okay, this is Savannah's moving along with hers pretty well. She has glazed the sky back a little bit and getting ready to start putting some images in it and that sort of thing. She's got the mist going on behind her mountains there, and she'll have to tweak her mountains and get them into looking more realistic and that sort of thing. And then she got to finish the little house deal and a few little things, just as then of course we come forward with it. And anyway, she's doing a good job, I think, so far. So next, there's my girl. Okay, this is where Savannah is at this point. I took my demo piece home last night and worked on it a little bit, and I'm going to get her up to par, up to speed with what I did last night. So, but anyway, she's been working on her forms in her mountains, and she got a little bit more work there to do, and she'll probably be doing that today. And we might get her to put a little bit of rust into her roofs on the garage. The barn and the house. And then we may jump into some glazing and scrambling. We want to get the scrambling in the road before we get too far along from here on. And then we jump back and glaze in some colors into the mountains. Okay, we're going to start off with glazing in the road tracks. With some wagon tracks and things in the road, and it's glazing with dry brushes. I think research says, I believe it's scrambling or something like that. But all you do is just dip your brush down into whatever you're going to start with. We're going to start with this brownish black here. Just dip it down in there, and then we get over here and see how much pigment you got on it, and just rub it off a little bit. No matter how much you rub it, you don't get it. You're still going to have some on your brush until you use a cleaner on it. And the way you start off here, let me just show you, honey. All right, just start off and I use this method as opposed to glazing when I'm in a rough surface. See, there's still a little bit too much on there, but that's okay. I'm gonna rub some of it off. Because all I want to do is here, hold up on me. All right, let me just show you again, honey. How's the best way to do this, and how to do this too? I don't know. I need a camera person probably. But anyway, okay, yeah, you do the camera work and I'll do this. All right, all you do is just take it and just rub in some tracks like that, just and it remain very faintly, because all you're doing is just leaving a little bit of pigment. Now the scrambling situation is good for watercolors or acrylics. If you're painting in acrylics, it's almost impossible. Well, to me, it's practically difficult to glaze wet. You have to do it dry brush, and just keep doing this till you get whatever in there you want, but create some ruts. And to me, the dry brush works better with rough surfaces. Like if I was going to do a post or something and I wanted to dry brush it, I'd just sort of like that, just create tracks, because you can go back over it and all that until you get exactly the kind of whatever you want. But see, it leaves texture, character, I guess you'd call it, a lot more than if you tried to do this with a wet brush and glazing. Still just glazing, you're just putting on a little bit of pigment, but controlling it more or less. But then we just get started, and this is just to get started in it. Now, when you get this brush here, it's probably a little too large for what we're trying to achieve back in the back, so I'm going to come in with just a little bit narrower brush, but it's still a bristle, still bristle. But come in there and see, like I said, if I had touched my painting with that on there like that, that's what I would have gotten. So rub all that excess off, and when it gets down, leaving just what you want it to leave, that's when you're ready to start. Oops, that was a little too much head on the corner. All right, sorry about that. We can always go over it, no big deal. But just create a little bit of traction in there. But you see, you can just do it as light as you want or whatever, and you're just going to leave a little bit of pigment, and no matter what, you paint right over it if you make a little mistake. But and the same thing applies with this as it does with glazing wet. I always keep a little rags with dip it in my medium, and then when I make a mistake, let's just say I made one, and where is it? I don't have a rag. We don't have a painting right here. Okay, never mind. Just going to show you how to do that, but that's never mind. Anyway, just make a little. Do your road right now. Just take it, and when you get back in here, don't make it dark like that. We're going to have to come back over that and lighten it up a little bit. But just make tracks and a little bit of character where you can see the wagon tracks going down the road. Okay, if you don't mind. All yours. Go ahead, just keep moving and grooving. When you dip it down there, don't go directly to the painting. Rub off almost all of it, because you're going to have no matter what, you're going to have pigment left on your brush. It's easy to leave too much, then it is. You can't hardly get rid of it actually. Well, you can't get rid of it until it. Well, you might. I shouldn't say can't, but it has to be cleaned and fluid before it comes out of there. So anyway, that's called glazing and dry brushes. I think technical word is scrambling or something like that. I don't know.
Ready?
Okay, I'm going to show you these two brushes. Now this brush right here, this is what you did when you was doing these trees in here. Okay, that's what you start off with, and then you did a little bit. But this is going to be farther away, and it's going to be lighter, because this is a little bit less pigment on that and a little bit smaller features. Okay, but you're going to do the same thing in here, just kind of blah 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 it until you get where it looks like little trees in there. You've done some of it up in here, but the same thing, but just do it say down in through here, and if you miss it a little bit, don't worry about it, because we're going to glaze that cloud up in there after a while anyway, so no big deal. All right, but anyway, use this brush. I think will work nicely for you, okay, in the glazing process. Okay, all right, there you go, turned off. Okay, anyway, the way when I'm actually going to spend a day glazing, I'll mix up my colors over here, and just like I did earlier, the same old thing, just mix them up. But what I do is I go in here, and the color that I'm going to be working with particularly, I just put a couple of brush, a brush full of it. I'll put it that way there. Now all I do is just start adding pigment, a bunch of pigment. See, I just throw on a bunch of fluid right here, and then all that is just wet fluid. It'll even run on you and all that kind of crazy stuff. So, but anyway, it's there, and I don't have to do it on my palette that I've got mixed up from my other activities. So this is my glazing. This is my glazing palette. And then what I do is, of course, like I said, I keep a piece of paper nearby, and I brush it off till I get down to where I don't have much pigment on it. So that should work for me. Okay, and if it's too much, then I've got my damp rag that I just dab it with. If I get on something I don't like, I just dab it. I don't brush it. I put at the point of my finger in my terp, my medium, and I use it as an eraser. Just put it on my finger, just a paper towel. But the same thing, if it was wet, I just dip it in the terp, and then I have an eraser, and I just go along and I just dab it when I want to erase it. I don't brush it. I don't rub it, because if I do, I rub off the paint underneath it. So you got your paint, you got your glaze, and you got your eraser. So you can just start working. Just go for it. Yeah, we're at the condo today. Savannah likes to set up in the back bedroom. It's quiet. She can close it off and be in her own little world, and she likes that sort of thing. She'll bring her iPhone with her, and as you'll notice, set it up in the window, put it on FaceTime or however they do that. She'll be talking to 2 or 3 people at one time, all of her friends. She's a multitasker for sure. Anyway, today she's going to be doing glazing wherever it needs it. The mountains in the back, clouds in the skies and in the pond, and just wherever it needs it. We're going to be doing a lot of scumbling and glazing. And speaking of scumbling and glazing, I was fortunate. What I feel like is the best museum in the nation just happened to be on the campus of U of L. I spent there. When I was there 4 years, I spent a lot of time at speed. Take my magnifying glass and get as close as they let me get, and had a little pocket notebook. I'd take down notes and things that I thought I wanted to research and about each and individual technique and certain way they did certain things. So anyway, after that, then of course I did read all the periodicals they had on hand, or any kind of information they had, and then go down to the public library. And at that time they didn't have internet available. Get on Google and check a lot of that stuff now, I suppose, but I go down to the public library and check out whatever artist that I found something about their art that was interesting, and I want to learn that particular part. So I go down and at the public library and just studied the best I could on it. And it seems like most all of the old masters, particularly, they've done a lot of scumbling and glazing. And I'm going to put out a little mini segment right away, and just dealing and showing you how to do scumbling and glazing. And when you learn it and get it into control, where you can control it, it's really okay. For this session, she's going to continue on doing her trees on the mountain close to her, and it'll be done exactly the way she did these, and that is with putting in the various colors in zero in here. That's the way that's going to look over there as soon as she gets finished with it. She's going to put in she's going to glaze in. The reason they're glazing in, we don't want them as bright as we do the ones right in front, right beside the barn. So she's glazing in the colors just like this over in those, in the other mountain over there where she's got the trees already formed, but she doesn't have color on it. So she's glazing in color at this point in time. So that's her project for this session. Where she's glazing it. Okay, tell me how to glaze.
You use the paint, whatever paint you want, or whatever paint you're using.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little stroke of it, you put it down here, like I have done here, you spread it out, you grab terp, which you should know how to make from previous videos.
Yeah, just add a bunch of fluid to it. Yeah,
and then get as much paint or pigment as you want in it. And
I'll get you a white piece of paper. You need to see it's going to come on there too bright because you got too much pigment on
Yep.
it. But I'll get you a piece of paper where you can write it all to just where the consistency you want. That way you can control the glazing to get the effect that you actually want. So, okay. Oh, good. Have fun. It'll be a while.
yep.
Yeah, this is the canvas pad sheet that I originally started off with Savannah's painting. I'd done one for each of the girls, but anyway, this is Savannah's, and she's been following along. We've done step by step up to where we are at this point in time with hers, and actually she's a little bit further down progress, a little bit further ahead than this one, but I can finish it out without having to do more demo work for her. I think I can do it verbally. Her biggest next challenge is doing the primary subject for the foreground, and I've suggested horse drinking out of the water. Well, here you go. Just a little sketch I did here with a horse drinking out of the water. Just a quick sketch, and little girl, which would be her, she take pictures of herself, or we will, and she can do that, and she can study a horse's anatomies and things to get that done. Fortunately, I was raised on a farm with a horse, following along a lot of miles, so pretty much familiar with their anatomy. But anyways, I think she can handle it. But she wasn't real impressed. I have a feeling she's going to wind up with something totally different, but we'll see. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be fine. So. Yeah, Savannah has agreed to, well, not agreed, I didn't try to talk her into it, but she wants to go ahead and do the horse drinking out of the water, the little girl watching her and all that sort of thing, so, and which is fine. She would have come up with something different, I know, but and nice. But however, she wants to just do a good painting, so that's all that matters. And I ran into her bedroom, and she's got little sketches and drawings scattered all over the place in there. So I gathered up a few of them, and here they are. She does know how to draw. She's quite a little art girl. And anyway, I've had her practicing drawing horses for the last few days, doing research, Google, and that sort of thing. Just checking out their anatomy, try to get it right. And I have a feeling she'll get it right. She's determined and very smart, so I have a feeling she's going to do just fine with this. We'll find out in just a jiffy. Well, okay, she's got her horse roughed in. Needs to put the shadows under the horse on the ground, but not in the water. She needs to understand you don't put shadows in the water if it's normal clear water. Muddy water sometimes takes shadows, but not. I wouldn't do much of that either. But I'm going to do a segment on water, how to handle water, a little mini segment eventually, and I plan to anyway. And so now she needs to concentrate on getting her little girl put in, and go from there. Yeah, okay, we need to, she's got a little girl in, and we need to now start doing some glazing and colors in the foreground bushes, and put maybe some vines on the fence row up on the fence post near the end. Keep your eye from running out of the picture, kind of blockage off a little bit, so that sort of thing. And just go around and tweak the grass, continue putting a little bit more grass around, and some grass in the background there. It needs that with illusions of grass, actually is what it needs. And just glazing around wherever it needs it and all that sort of thing. So that's she's doing a pretty good job so far getting it down where we, she's got it going pretty good. And so we'll just continuing on. I think she's going to getting close to finishing this thing. Yeah, guys, this is about signatures. When I was at U of L, the Speed Museum was on campus, and it's a great museum. Had a lot of old masters and new shows coming through Louisville and all that. And I'd go in and do research, take my magnifying glass, do all the research I could, and then start libraries and all their periodicals and read as much as I could on how they did things. So anyway, one thing was they said most of them seem to think that your signature needs to be legible and unique, and but not, just use common sense about it, of course. But as a child, I was all my life I've been a Norman Rockwell fan, and I've noticed that his signatures on all his stuff is very unique, and he used mostly caps on most of them, and with a little uniqueness. And so I developed right away mine is the P under the E in all caps. Let's develop that right away. And Savannah wants to use her nickname, Savvy, which all her friends call her. She wants to use that as her art name. So I had her practice a few days and develop a signature, and this is what she's come up with. And that's pretty cool. I think she'll probably go a long way with that. I don't know, she may change it, but anyway. But okay, this is the last of August 2020. This is Delena's painting coming along. It's she hadn't had a chance to do much on it. It's a snow scene, and same subject, but this is Shayna's. She's going to do a spring scene, and a little pink house says she's going to do a purple barn. So we'll see about that. I don't know, but that's her choice, her art. And this is Sabrina's summer scene, and all the same subject, of course. And of course we have Savannah, or Savvy, whichever one you want to call it. And there she is in her glory. All right, go ahead and take it. And anyway, this is her piece of the same subject. And I don't know if she's proud of it or not, but I am. I think she did a pretty good job for a weird girl. So what more can you ask? No, she did a very good job, in my opinion. I think for her first oil painting, kind of proud of her. So anyway, good job, Savvy.